Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by Al Morey, who will be competing in the USF 2000 series for Jay Howard Driver Development. And by the way, he's only 17 years old. How's it going?
Very good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Okay, so before we get into the opportunity, why not? Let's just talk about this opportunity and stuff. You go from F4 to USF 2000. How excited are you about it? And I bet you're just bouncing off walls right now.
Yeah, that would be a good way to put that because it's crazy. I started last year, just about this time actually in December, driving the F4 for the first time. And then we tested a little bit and got up, and then eventually this year tested USF 2000 car. So to be racing it next year already this fast is like, wow. And, it's super exciting that it's coming up this fast. I can't wait because March is going to be here before we know it. And that's what obviously when St. Pete is. So very excited to be taking part in that.
All right. So not a lot of people know a lot about you. So let's get to know you a little bit.
Alrighty.
Just kind of talk about how you got into racing, how this thing kind of come about.
All right. So I actually have somewhat of an interesting story to get to open wheel racing. So when I was 9, my dad took me up to K1 speed up here in Fishers. I live in Indiana, so it was pretty close, about 20 minutes away from here. And I went up there and I loved it. It was indoor karting, so that was really cool for me at the time, and it still is. I still really enjoy going there, but it just kind of got me in the door. Like I'd always seen racing on TV. My dad would be watching drag racing or Formula One or IndyCar or whatever it might be when I was a kid. So then when he asked me, he's like, "Hey, there's something you can do to kind of like drive yourself." I was all in. So we went there, and then I just kind of casually went up there. Nothing too big of a deal. And then 2020 came around, and I was like, they have a championship kind of league up there, and I said, "All right, let's go for that. See how it goes." Um, so we did the first 3 races of the year, and then COVID hit. And then we came back, I think, in July and finished off the season. And I ended up winning the championship up there. And the general manager at the time is a real good friend of ours. And he said, you're fast. Let's see, if there's any other sort of potential out there that you have to drive other things. And he says, I can't help you with that, but I know someone who can. And a few months earlier, apparently, Jay and some of the guys from the team had been there. And he said, as far as I know, they have a karting team. We'll send you up to the headquarters up Westfield, and we'll see if they can get you started with a outdoor kart for the season. I said, all right, that's awesome. So a couple months later, I think it would have been in February, maybe, of 2021. We went up to the shop and we started to get some things rolling. They didn't have a karting team at the time, so I was the first one back that they had in a little while. And Jay was real helpful getting us a cart built and everything. So in all of 2021, then we had that outdoor. It's a X30 tag go kart. We race out at Newcastle, or we did. We still do. And then so that was 2021. And then at the end of 2021, we kind of went in and talked to Jay. So, hey, thank you already for the opportunity to have your name on the side of the go-kart, your help throughout the whole season and get me going and everything. What's our next step next year? Do we get a faster cart? Do we buy another cart? What's the step here? And he says, all right, let me think about that. I'll get back to you in the next couple of days. So a couple of days come around and he calls my dad and says, hey, we're going out to Carolina Motorsports Park in December. What would you maybe think about coming out and testing an F4 car? And of course, I went nuts, right? It's like, wow, that fast already? Let's go. So we went there and we started testing in Carolina, and we started testing in Indy and started testing in Illinois, some local tracks and some regional tracks. And our original plan this year was just to test the F4 car all year and then go to Coda, which was just this last weekend, and race that race and then do like a full F4 season next year. So we got about halfway through the testing season and we just decided to jump right in. And Jay thought that would be a good idea. So in Mid Ohio, that was my first race. and then Mid Ohio led to New Jersey, New Jersey led to Virginia, Virginia led to Dakota, and then we had tested the USF car back in July, I believe, and now we're here.
Yeah. And now you're going to be on the road to Indy, the ladder in USF 2000. Um, has that sunk in yet? I know I know from watching you and your reactions, you're a pretty emotional guy. This is big for you. This is probably the biggest thing that's probably ever happened to you in your racing career.
It is. It certainly is. And I don't know if it has hit me yet. I think it will when we first roll out at St. Pete, because that's an IndyCar track. That's different. And with Indy cars being there and the crowd we hope to have, that's going to be pretty surreal for me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Okay, so you're also in high school. You're a junior.
Mhm.
You're 17 years old. So, um, how do you handle? And you still go to actual, if I'm not mistaken, you actually go to actual public school.
I do. Yeah, I do. It's it's interesting. My teachers, I'll let them know before I leave. Say, hey, listen, I'm not going to be here from, X to X.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do beforehand? Is there anything I can do? Usually, I don't like to do things while I'm there. I like to either knock them out completely beforehand, or in this case, this year, my teachers have all been, "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll catch you up when you get back." They've been pretty cool about that. So this week, I'm all caught up already with what I missed from last week at Coda. It's just a balancing act, really, because grades are just important.
Yeah.
Um, and my family is racing is, so got to keep those up.
Yeah. So, okay, what is the hardest class you're taking right now?
Yikes! It's junior year, so they're all pretty difficult.
Hey,
I'm in algebra two, and that's probably the most difficult for me.
that's not bad.
I mean, I'd like to be like really, really good at it. I'm still trying to get there, but yeah.
Yeah. Going into this year, learning these cars and really doing that. What excites you about this year? Because you're going to all these different types of tracks and stuff.
So there's a lot of things that excite me about this year. One of them, like I said, for St. Pete, is being on the real IndyCar calendar with the Indy cars on the IndyCar tracks the same weekend. And then for me, one of the things I love most about racing is the real close like battles you have on track with other cars. And I've been to a couple of USF races last year. I came out with the team, and it looks like there's a lot of that going on track a lot of the time. So I'm really excited to be a part of that.
Okay. Um, okay, we've got to know your racing background and all that. Let's get to know you outside of racing and stuff. How
All
about
right.
that?
Okay.
So, what is your um, do you have any racing superstitions?
Well, I do have one actually. Um, yeah, so every time before a race, I'm gonna eat a chocolate chip cookie. That's always been like the thing. Like even when I was karting at K1, I'd always get a big chocolate chip cookie before I get in the car. And then the one time that I didn't, I got in a real big wreck in New Jersey. So that's kind of been like a hey, I'm gonna always have one of those now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, if you got to pick one social media app to use and get rid of the rest, what would it be?
Probably Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Favorite go-to place for food.
For food, I like Firehouse subs.
Okay.
It's convenient. I really like their sandwiches. Tastes really good, and I just like them.
Yeah, there's a lot of sub places around. Especially, there's Subway, there's Jersey Mike's, there's Jimmy John's.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
gone into Firehouse a few times.
It's pretty
Um,
good.
it is. So, okay. What's your favorite sports team to root for?
Red Bull racing and F1.
All right.
I mean,
Um,
besides my own, of course, but
yeah, yeah. Do you like any other sports besides racing or no?
I'm not a big like football guy or basketball guy or
You know what?
baseball. So
You know what? It's probably good because the Colts and Pacers are terrible. So
that's what I've heard this year. I wouldn't know. I don't watch any of it, but that's what I've heard.
yeah, yeah. It's Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll get. Yeah, it's you don't need to. You don't need to get into those. So
Yeah.
you just need to focus on all. I mean, it's for me. It's just yeah. I pay attention to all of them, but obviously it's it's racing and anything local high school related for me.
Yeah. That's same for me. I like to go to the football games in my school. I'm friends with a lot of the team, but otherwise, it doesn't really excite me all that much.
By the way, shout out your high school for a sec.
Hey guys.
Where do you go to high school? If you
Hamilton Southeastern High School.
all right. I think I'm aware of where that is. So, um, okay, most famous person you've met and famous person you want to meet.
Boy, I've met Will Power on occasion.
I have as well.
Outside of outside of the track, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now. Uh, Alexander Rossi, I've met a couple times outside of the track.
Yep, I've met
He's a really nice guy. Both of those guys are.
yeah. Good dude.
Honestly, I can't. I'm drawing like a blank on that one, to be completely honest with you.
Sorry, I've met a lot. I mean, obviously, when you are in this job, you get to meet a lot of people. Obviously, Santino Ferrucci was just on the show last week, actually a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's
So
pretty cool.
it is. Yeah, it is. It's just a fun thing. And also, all right, name and last thing is name something people might not know about.
Um, oh, well, I really like American cars more than anything.
Okay.
Like Dodge is my favorite.
All right.
They always have been ever since I was a little kid. I just really have liked Dodge's street cars.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Uh, that is for sure. All right. Well, Al, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. And
Absolutely.
congratulations on the announcement a few weeks ago. And we'll look forward to maybe having you on again before the season starts.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for having me. It's been great.